You've probably heard the phrase, you are not your thoughts. What does that actually mean? Most people try to change their lives by forcing positive thinking or staying disciplined, yet still feel stuck, overwhelmed, or like there's something missing. Here's the truth. Real transformation doesn't come from mindset alone. It happens when you align your energy, your identity, and your inner state. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to access the most powerful version of you, your inner master. When asked how he sculpted David, Michelangelo replied, I didn't create David. I just removed everything that wasn't him. That's what energy work is. It's not about adding more strategies or mindset hacks. It's about removing the blocks, the fear, the resistance, the limiting beliefs. You don't need to become somebody else. You just need to return to the version of you that's already whole. I really love this story. I like to visualize this symbolically and use this tool throughout my life. I really analyze and see myself as the sculptor and myself as the marble as well, and chipping away. And oftentimes in this analyzation, I ask myself, is this truly serving me? And most times it's stemming from my thoughts, right? And oftentimes as well, as I dig a little bit deeper, those thoughts usually are associated with beliefs. And as we go a little bit deeper, the ones that don't serve me are usually associated with limiting beliefs. So understanding that has been fundamental for me. It's been a process of understanding to listen to my body. When I feel discomfort in my body, it's usually a trigger to ask myself, okay, what am I thinking? And then when I bring my attention to my thoughts, I'm able to analyze and see, oh, okay, this is heavy. Now I see my body's reacting to these thoughts. It's telling me, hey, this is unserving. So as I sit with it and really sit with it, really be present with it, and allow the stillness to come in, it starts to dissolve. And as it starts to dissolve, I'm able to see through it and get to the core belief where this is stemming from. And if it's a limiting belief, I like to visualize it as a weed. I pull that weed, and then I take the seed of the new empowered thought I choose to believe in, and I plant the seed there. And then I allow that to germinate, and I allow that to grow within my subconscious mind. And through that process, begin to shift the way that I perceive things around me with this new belief. So to kind of take a step back and see the bigger picture, we understand that thoughts are surface level. Beneath them are stored emotions, energetic imprints, and beliefs. Indigenous wisdom has always known that if you don't change your energy, your reality will always stay the same. I know this personally because I've experienced it with, in particular, a gratitude practice. When I used to have it as like a task, every morning, every night, I just kind of go through it, cross off my to-dos and go through my gratitude practice. However, words are empty, right? I think we all know those people who promise a lot, say a lot, but the actions don't follow it. And if I'm just telling myself something with my words, but energetically I'm not completing on it, it doesn't serve me. It wasn't until with that gratitude practice that one day I actually felt gratitude, and I felt the shift in my energy and my being, and I felt how the universe responded to that shift in my energy, that I realized, like, okay, yeah, it's not about just saying it, it's truly about feeling it. And that's where I started to shift and understand where the true power and the alchemy of the creation of reality comes from. So let's begin to peel back the layers and go a little bit deeper. One of the first and most important understandings is that you are not your thoughts. You are the awareness beneath it, the divine, right? And this is a concept that, there's a lot to unpack within it, but at its core essence is learning to find that fortitude and that stillness within your being to not be taken by your thoughts, right? If our thoughts control our reality and we have no say in being centered, it can take us in so many different directions, right? Especially when it's paired with an emotion. Oh man, our mind can create so many different realities, hypothetical situations, and affect our internal being in a way that's like beyond comprehension. I know I've experienced it too, where maybe I have an anxious thought, and if left unchecked, it goes through so many hypothetical worst case scenarios, and I feel it in my body. Right? I don't feel good, and I feel that tension, and that starts to affect me, and it's like this loop, right? My thoughts are going uncontrolled with a heavy emotion. It affects my being. It makes me feel bad, and then I feel bad for feeling bad, and it's just like this loop, right? So learning how to create some space from our thoughts, connect with our, what I like to call inner master, that stillness, that being, allows us to really take control of what's happening around us. It allows us to step into that role of a creator and really being responsible for the life that's manifesting around us, every aspect of it. Because in reality, we are 100% responsible for how our life is unfolding. Now, the choice is either stepping into conscious creation and choosing what's happening around you, or to allow the unconscious mind and these uncontrolled thoughts and beliefs to continue creating the life that's currently manifested around us. I mention this because this is the next part of the step. It's that understanding that real breakthrough comes from the internal shift. Once I really start to anchor in and focus on who it is I choose to be in each moment, in each day, that's how life starts to respond. And the beautiful thing about this is that we have constant feedback, right? Life, the universe, is a mirror. This is called the mirror principle. And whatever it's reflecting to me is just showing me what's going on internally with myself, right? So if I'm always triggered, that means I have a short fuse. Why do I have a short fuse? That's an invitation to go inwards and figure out, why is my nervous system so tightened up or anything triggers me to go off. So we have all these tools available to us to be able to bounce the feedback off of and really start to observe. Ancient wisdom tells us that true transformation happens through energy, not through force. That's why there's so many different practices with ceremonies, breath works, and a bunch of different techniques to really help people work through their fears, through their trauma, through their emotional baggage, right? To release these weights that we carry, that we've accumulated throughout our lives, to really start to become free, right? And energetically speaking, once we take all this baggage off, I mean, just imagine, right? You've been walking around with 50, 100 pounds of emotional baggage throughout your life, and all of a sudden you start to chip that away, you become lighter. So what does that mean? It means the creation of life around you becomes more fluid, right? You start shifting into a new way of being, one that's a little bit lighter, a little bit more playful. So as we begin to do the deeper work and really align with our energy, that's where the magic begins to happen. Again, going into the mirror principle, we have this symbiotic relationship with the universe, right? And as we continue to step further into our own energy and refine that, be really detailed with how we want to show up in the world, the universe responds, right? It's honestly magical. And this is an invitation to begin to do the work so that you could step into the magical essence of life. By now, you're probably wondering, okay, well, how do I get to there? How do I get to that? How do I get access to that inner master? And, to be frank, it's just consistency, right? We talk about this concept of compound growth. If I get 1% better each day, right? Maybe it might not feel like much initially, but in the course of a year, that's 365% improvement, right? Which is monumental, right? And at first it might seem like nothing, but at the end of the year, you'll start to really notice it. And what it's really associated with is learning how to quiet the mind, the surface level mind that's just like on autopilot, going, going, going. And once we're able to learn how to silence that, then we can start to really analyze, right, and decipher what's really going on. Your biggest tool is going to be your breath, right? When our mind's going and running, and usually in a state of worry or fear, what does that do? We naturally shorten our breath, right? And how does that affect us? Our nervous system is in fight or flight, right? So as we begin to take those deeper breaths, the box breathing, you can try that, which is 4 seconds inhale, 4 seconds hold, 4 seconds exhale, 4-second hold, right? Or I invite you to do a little bit of research and see different breathing techniques, and a certain one might resonate with you. But as we begin to breathe more fully, what are we doing physiologically? We're giving our mind more oxygen to work with, to really be able to perceive what's happening. We're letting our body know, hey, we're safe. It's okay. So as we begin to settle back our nervous system and get in a more settled state, then we can begin to observe our thoughts. And when we're observing our thoughts, a practice that I like to do is create a little bit of space between the thought and the emotion. As I begin to separate those, I'm able to neutrally observe the thought, right? Because sometimes when I observe a thought, if there's an emotional charge behind it, then I'm just going to create a bunch of hypothetical situations and just kind of allow that thought to take me anywhere it wants to. When I create the space from the emotion, the thought, I can just kind of observe it and see it. And as I continue to observe and witness it, it starts to dissolve. And as it dissolves, I'm able to see the belief that's beyond there, that's behind it. And as I understand that belief, as I mentioned earlier in the video, I'm able to decide if it's a weed, if it's something that doesn't serve me, and if I need to pull it, I do. If I pull it, then I choose the belief that I want to plant in there in my mind, in my subconscious mind, and I put it in instead. I affirm it. And at the end of the day, I understand that we're all very different. So maybe meditation isn't for everyone, right? Maybe you meet it with resistance, and that's okay, right? We're all different. Maybe you can achieve that same state of mind, of stillness, by going out and walking in nature. Or maybe for you, it's by painting or drawing, or maybe it's by singing, right? This is an invitation to play around, figure out what helps you get into a very settled state where you're not so much in your mind, you're just flowing, right? And in that state, when you're in the state of flow, of openness, not being run by your thoughts, that's where we can begin to cultivate that relationship with what I call the inner master. And as we begin to cultivate that relationship, we start to understand what that feels like. And we also have access to that inner master at any moment. If anything's happening that I need a little bit of guidance, I can take a little time to sit, call upon the inner master, and ask for his help. And it's a beautiful thing. Honestly, it's a beautiful thing. And it's a process that takes just some dedication, a little bit of time each day. The more you set your intention to connect with that inner stillness of yourself, the more you cultivate that relationship, right? I believe as a whole, we really underestimate the power of intention. If I set my intention each time, each day, each moment, there's something beyond words, a force that moves, that helps align everything with that intention. So as you continue to move through these practices, it's extremely important, as I mentioned earlier with the compound effect, to make the space, create the space to do the work each day, because this is something that's built over time, brick by brick. And it's self-love, honestly. The more we're able to cultivate this stillness in our mind, the stillness in our being, the more we're able to create a life that's what we desire, a life that's favorable to us, a life that we choose. Because we step out of the autopilot subconscious mind that's just running, and we start to instill what it is that we choose. And as we begin to do that, again, comes the biggest part is the energetic imprint, right? Because we come from a space of fortitude, a space where we're deciding, and a space where we're choosing how we want to feel. And the universe is all about frequency and vibration. So once we really start to define what it is that our vibration is, the universe responds. I like to envision it almost like the radio, right? When you turn to a certain FM station, it brings a certain set of songs, a certain DJ, and whatever it is that you choose. Oh, I want to hear some hip hop, so I'm going to go to this one, right? I see it exactly the same with reality and the universe and life. As I put my frequency and my vibration energetically to what it is I want to attract, once I sustain it for long enough, then the universe changes and it brings those songs, that reality to me. So a little bit each day goes a long way, right? And there's going to be some moments where it's a little bit challenging. That's why it's important to connect with why. Why is it that you want this for yourself, for your family, for your loved ones? That is going to be the fuel that's going to help push you each day. In essence, I've explored this through many different paths, right? I've taken courses, but more than anything, what it's been for me, it's been an experiential lesson. And through my path of diving deeper into shamanism and going to the jungle and learning from different people, and being put, more than anything, being put in extreme conditions, right? A lot of these ceremonies that I've done are rites of passage in their culture. It's when a boy becomes a man, and they're often associated with being put in extreme conditions to really kind of step into your power. And through these ceremonies, when you feel like, metaphorically speaking, and almost literally, when your back's against the wall and your mind wants to go into panic and, go into that you're gonna die mode, it's been powerful in helping me kind of put everything into perspective and gather myself and understand just how powerful the mind can be. And one step further, just how truly powerful we are, right? The awareness behind the mind. So through these practices, I've been able to really step into my fortitude, right? And right now I'm in the process of being able to help others step into their power through these practices, through these fundamentals, through these principles at a base level. So if you're interested in diving a little bit deeper into these concepts, learning a little bit more about how to get connected with that inner strength within you, it's there. It's already there, right? A big part of it is just getting out of our own way. Join my newsletter. I'll be sending information on different practices, different concepts that can start to help create that pathway for you to return to yourself ultimately, right? Because everything that you need is already within you. And I'm more than happy to help provide that information to help you connect back with your true essence, with that inner master, and to open up the floodgates to get that wisdom, to get any bit of information that you may need, that you can call upon at any moment in your life. And it's a beautiful thing, right? If uncertainty comes, a situation comes, you have the ability with your breath, with your intention, and with the stillness to call on a universal wisdom that's within you. And it will respond, and it'll help guide you, and it'll help put everything that doesn't matter aside and present the path that will lead you to the best outcome for yourself. So if you're interested, click in my link. In my bio, there's going to be a link to my email list, and I'm more than happy to share this information with you. Just make sure once you click, you're going to have to go into your email and whitelist my name and also press the confirm button. Otherwise, you won't be subscribed to the newsletter. Well, thank you again for your time, for your energy. I look forward to continue connecting with you all. Hausch, hausch.